At first glance, vampire shrimp can seem a bit intimidating, not just because of their striking appearance, but also due to the care they might need. Compared to the familiar red cherry shrimp, these fascinating creatures are much larger and often come with a heftier price tag. But don't let that discourage you. With the right knowledge and setup, vampire shrimp can be an incredibly rewarding addition to your tank. In this video, we're diving into everything you need to know about keeping and caring for vampire shrimp. From their tank setup and water parameters to feeding, compatible tank mates, and more. Let's dive right in. Vampire shrimp, which are also known as giant African fan shrimp, Gabon shrimp, or viper shrimp, originate from parts of Western Africa, including northern Nigeria. Did you know they're currently listed as a threatened species? To help preserve their populations, they're only caught in small quantities. In their natural habitat, vampire shrimp thrive in mangrove environments with sandy or muddy substrates. These areas are rich with dense vegetation, offering both shelter and a reliable food source. The moderate to strong water currents found here are perfect for their unique filter feeding lifestyle. You'll often spot them nestled between mangrove roots, tucked into crevices, or blending seamlessly into the lush vegetation. Unlike most shrimp species, vampire shrimp have a distinctive appearance with several unique physical traits. Their bodies are stocky and heavily built, protected by a robust shell. One striking feature is the pointy bumps on their legs, which help them grip and anchor themselves in strong water currents. They also have long antennae and fan-like appendages, which they use to catch floating food particles in the water column. Adding to their uniqueness, vampire shrimp can change color with each molt. You might see them display shades of gray or white, light blue, reddish brown, or even a strong blue. In captivity, vampire shrimp typically grow to 3.5 to 4.5 inches or 9 to 11 centimeters, but in the wild, they can reach up to 6 inches or 15 centimeters. Their size is often influenced by factors such as tank conditions, diet, and overall care. Vampire shrimp have an impressive lifespan compared to other freshwater shrimp. They typically live 3 to 6 years, but can reach up to 10 years under optimal conditions. Their longevity is influenced by factors such as water quality, proper tank maintenance, a balanced diet, and minimizing stress. When setting up a tank for vampire shrimp, a minimum size of 20 gallons or 75 liters is recommended. If you can provide a larger tank, even better. More water means a greater abundance of edible particles floating in the water column for them to feed on. Personally, I keep my vampire shrimp in a 55-gallon or 208-liter tank, which gives them plenty of space and a rich feeding environment. For the substrate, sand is ideal. It's soft and closely mimics their natural habitat. Since vampire shrimp occasionally sift through the substrate for food, it's essential to provide a surface that won't damage their delicate fan-like appendages. Vampire shrimp are naturally shy, so creating hiding spots is crucial. Use rocks, driftwood, and live plants to provide shelters where they can feel safe. These shrimp tend to stay close to their hiding places, making it easy for them to dart back in if they're startled. When it comes to filtration, avoid overfiltering the water to the point of being crystal clear. Vampire shrimp feed primarily from particles suspended in the water column, so it's best to skip using fine filter floss. Aim for moderate to strong water flow, which supports their filter feeding needs and keeps the water oxygen rich. In my setup, I use an Oase Biomaster 250 canister filter for effective filtration and surface agitation to promote gas exchange. Additionally, I have a Haiger wave maker aimed directly at the shrimp. This setup ensures a steady flow of edible particles is constantly directed towards them, making feeding more efficient and natural. It's important to note that vampire shrimp are wild caught, so creating an environment that closely mimics their natural habitat is essential. Because these shrimp are wild caught, I strongly recommend drip acclimating them for at least 3 hours before adding them to your tank. This gradual process helps them adjust to your water parameters, ensuring a smoother and less stressful transition. For water parameters, aim for a pH between 6.5 and 7.5, GH of 6 to 20, KH of 2 to 15, and a TDS of 150 to 200. Ammonia and nitrite levels should always be at 0 ppm, and nitrate should remain below 20 ppm. The ideal temperature range for vampire shrimp is 74 degrees to 82 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. My tank is set to 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 24 degrees Celsius. These shrimp thrive in water conditions similar to those preferred by Neocaridina shrimp. Vampire shrimp are predominantly shy and reclusive, often spending most of their time hidden among driftwood, rocks, plants, or other aquarium decor. These nocturnal creatures are typically more active at night, so you may not see them as much during the day. However, this behavior can vary. For example, my vampire shrimp, of which I currently have 11, seem active at all hours. Despite their shyness, vampire shrimp can be surprisingly social with their own kind. They thrive in groups of 4 or more and often share feeding spots, but they still prefer having plenty of space and hiding places to retreat to when they feel stressed or threatened. They also coexist well with peaceful tank mates, though overly active fish can cause them stress. While their appearance may seem intimidating, vampire shrimp are entirely peaceful. They lack claws and show no aggressive behavior, relying on their fan-like appendages for filter feeding and gathering food particles from the water column. This docile nature makes them ideal companions for peaceful shrimp, snails, and non-aggressive fish. It's important to note that vampire shrimp are sensitive to changes in their environment. Sudden movements, bright lights, or disturbances during feeding can cause significant stress, often leading them to hide for extended periods. When performing maintenance or even approaching the tank, it's best to move slowly and carefully to avoid startling them. Vampire shrimp primarily feed on detritus and microorganisms, using their specialized fan-like appendages to catch food particles from the water column. Providing a varied diet ensures they get the necessary minerals and nutrients to stay healthy and molt properly. I feed my vampire shrimp high-quality fish flakes from New Life Spectrum, which I grind into a fine powder using a mortar, but a coffee grinder works too. Additionally, I use a mix of Bacteria, Shrimp Baby, and Shrimp Fit by Glass Garden. I usually place these powdered foods near the wave maker to ensure the current pushes it directly to the shrimp. I also use algae wafers, particularly since I keep autocinkless catfish, a hillstream, and Borneo loach. Interestingly, my vampire shrimp love algae wafers and will spend hours breaking them down. I feed my tank every other day, as it houses over 30 fish, 6 bamboo shrimp, 7 short-nose shrimp, and 11 vampire shrimp. This schedule keeps a steady supply of edible particles in the water column, crucial for filter feeding shrimp. Occasionally, you might notice vampire shrimp sifting through the substrate for food. While normal in moderation, constant substrate sifting could indicate insufficient food in the water column, potentially leading to damage to their fan-like appendages. If this happens, assess your tank setup, ensure filtration isn't overly efficient, check water flow strength, and adjust feeding quantity or frequency. Here's a tip. Adding a mono or short-nose shrimp to your tank can create a natural food source for vampire shrimp. Female Ammonia shrimp, for example, can release over 1,000 tiny larvae when they breed. These larvae cannot survive in fresh water and will float in the water column, becoming an excellent meal for your vampire shrimp. If you're planning to keep vampire shrimp with Neocaridina shrimp and are concerned about the safety of baby Neocaridinas, there's no need to worry. Neocaridina babies are much larger than Ammonia larvae and are not at risk of being eaten. For additional variety, consider offering live or frozen baby brine shrimp or frozen Daphnia, which also make an excellent meal. Vampire shrimp molt approximately every 2 months, shedding their old exoskeleton to grow a larger one. This process is crucial for their growth and development. I was fortunate enough to witness one of my vampire shrimp molting, which was a rare and fascinating event. After molting, these shrimp are particularly vulnerable due to their soft new exoskeleton. During this time, they seek shelter to protect themselves while their shell hardens. Providing plenty of hiding places in the aquariums, such as caves, driftwood, or dense plants, is essential. My shrimp often hide under driftwood or inside a cave after molting. Interestingly, vampire shrimp may change color after molting, displaying shades like gray, white, light blue, reddish brown, or even a strong blue. Factors such as age, environment, and substrate color can influence these changes. Due to their slow growth rate and long lifespan, vampire shrimp molt less frequently than some other shrimp species. Their slow metabolism aligns with their potential lifespan of up to 10 years. Before molting, you might notice some telltale signs. They may exhibit reduced activity, standing still for extended periods, or show a decreased appetite. Additionally, they may search for hiding spots or appear less vibrant. My shrimp tend to hide within the jungle valve before molting, retreating to their cave or under the driftwood afterward. Catching a vampire shrimp in the act of molting is truly remarkable and highlights the fascinating nature of these unique creatures. Determining the sex of vampire shrimp can be challenging, but there are a few key indicators to help distinguish males from females. 1. Males have a noticeably thicker first pair of legs, particularly in the second segment, just behind the main leg joint. 2. Females are generally larger, ranging from 2.5 to 4.5 inches, or 6.5 to 11.5 centimeters in length. 3. In females, the second segment of the abdomen is rounded and overlaps the first and third segments. Males, on the other hand, have uniform-looking abdominal segments. Finally, 4. The most reliable method is observing whether the shrimp are carrying eggs, as only females do so. Breeding vampire shrimp in captivity is an incredibly challenging and complex process, which is why the pet industry relies heavily on wild-caught shrimp. Personally, I've never tried breeding vampire shrimp. Unlike many shrimp species that breed frequently throughout the year, Vampire shrimp have a specific breeding season, typically during the rainy season in the wild. Replicating these conditions in an aquarium requires precise adjustments, such as increased water changes, temperature and lighting modifications, or even misting systems to simulate higher humidity. Personally, I avoid making drastic changes to my tank's conditions, as it can stress the shrimp and other inhabitants. I prefer to focus on their overall well-being rather than forcing them to breed. If your vampire shrimp do manage to breed, raising the larvae presents an additional challenge. Larvae cannot survive in fresh water for more than a week, so you'll need a separate brackish water setup. This process is similar to breeding a mono shrimp. Since there are multiple steps involved, I've linked a video in the description from an experienced aquarist who provides a step-by-step guide to breeding a mono shrimp. With some adaptations, you may be able to raise vampire shrimp larvae into juveniles. Breeding vampire shrimp is extremely difficult, but not impossible. If you're up for the challenge and decide to give it a try, I'd love to hear how it goes. In an aquarium setting, vampire shrimp, like other shrimp species, can face several health challenges. Understanding these issues is key to maintaining their well-being. Failed molts are a common and potentially fatal issue. This occurs when a shrimp cannot successfully shed its old exoskeleton. A clear sign of this problem is the white ring of death, a white line around the body where the head meets the carapace, indicating the old shell hasn't split correctly. While failed molds can be treated directly, they can often be prevented by maintaining stable water parameters, including pH, KH, GH, and TDS within optimal ranges. Avoid large, sudden water changes, especially with tap water, as a difference in parameters can stress a shrimp. Instead, perform slow, gradual water changes. If your water is soft, consider adding mineral supplements like crushed coral to boost calcium and magnesium levels, essential for healthy molting. Providing shrimp-specific foods can also supply the necessary nutrients for proper exoskeleton development. Erratic shrimp behavior often indicates poor water quality. Ammonia and nitrite levels should always be at 0 ppm, as even trace amounts are toxic. To avoid spikes, ensure your tank is fully cycled before adding any shrimp. Perform regular small water changes of about 10 to 20%, avoid overfeeding, and don't overcrowd the tank. Adding fast-growing live plants can also help absorb excess ammonia and nitrite. If treating sick fish in the same tank, avoid copper-based medications, as copper is extremely toxic to shrimp. It's best to treat fish in a separate quarantine tank, then return them once healthy. Trace amounts of copper in shrimp food are beneficial for biological functions, but high concentrations like those found in medications should be avoided. Rust disease causes reddish-brown to black spots on the shell, which can eventually degrade it and cause internal damage. Poor water quality and stress are major contributors. While I've never encountered this with my vampire shrimp, I successfully treated my Ammonia shrimp with this condition using hydrogen peroxide. However, hydrogen peroxide must be used carefully. I'll link a video in the comments from Mark's Shrimp Tanks that explains the process I followed. Shrimp can also suffer from parasites like Vorticella and Scuturella japonica, which are often introduced via contaminated plants or substrate. While small infestations may not be harmful initially, unchecked populations can lead to respiratory issues and declining health. Hydrogen peroxide can treat Vorticella, while aquarium salt is effective against both parasites. These are some of the most common health issues shrimp face. Early identification and appropriate treatment are essential. Now, if you're experiencing unexplained shrimp deaths, check out the video I've linked in the top right corner. Vampire shrimp are peaceful and coexist well with many other species, making them an excellent addition to community tanks. When selecting tank mates, choose other peaceful species that won't bully or harm them. Avoid large or aggressive fish that might see vampire shrimp as a potential snack, as these shrimp lack the ability to defend themselves. Their fan-like appendages are delicate and not suited for self-defense. In my 55-gallon community tank, I keep my vampire shrimp alongside a variety of tank mates, including bamboo shrimp, short-nosed shrimp, and fish like Otocinclus catfish, hillstream and Borneo loaches, Panda corridoras, Harlequin rasboras, Kubotai rasboras, ruby tetras, albino cherry barbs, Forcadas and Celebes rainbowfish, as well as Raminos tetras and Asian Raminos rasboras. Of course, there are plenty of other peaceful fish and shrimp species that can live harmoniously with vampire shrimp. If you're keeping these fascinating creatures, let me know what tank mates they have in the comments below. Vampire shrimp are truly one of a kind. Their size, long lifespan, unique appearance, ability to change colors, and peaceful nature make them an incredible addition to any community aquarium. Despite their rarity, caring for them is surprisingly straightforward when you know what they need. I hope this care guide has given you all the tools and knowledge to provide the best environment for these gentle giants. If you enjoyed learning about vampire shrimp, you'll definitely want to check out my videos on their equally fascinating counterpart, the bamboo shrimp. And don't forget to subscribe for more shrimp keeping tips and guides. I'm Andy, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I've made shrimp keeping a little easier for you. I'll catch you in the next one.